Luna Lovegood knew they were coming, but no one believed her. It was a blustery night in late October. The wind howled like a banshee outside of Hogwarts, rattling the windows in their frames. Rain lashed against the glass panes, blurring the lights of Hogsmeade below into an impressionist painting of color and light. In the Gryffindor common room, the fire crackled merrily in its hearth, chasing away the chill of the autumn evening. Students lounged about, playing cards or board games, reading books, or simply enjoying the warmth of the fire while watching the rain. Then suddenly, the door burst open, and in ran Luna Lovegood, her silvery blonde hair plastered to her face by the wind and rain. She gasped for breath, her eyes wide with terror. "They're here!" she cried, her voice echoing through the room. "They're really here! They're inside the walls!" Before anyone could ask her what she meant, she collapsed to her knees, burying her head in her arms. A shudder ran through her thin frame, and she began to cry. For a moment, there was silence. Then Hermione Granger, ever quick to help someone in distress, rushed to Luna's side. "Oh, Luna," she said soothingly, kneeling beside her friend. "What's happened? What are you talking about?" Luna lifted her head, her eyes still wild with fear. "I told you," she whispered, her voice shaking. "The Nargles, they're here. They're in the walls. We have to hide." But her words made no sense to the other students. They exchanged uneasy glances. The Nargles were creatures from another dimension, figments of Luna's imagination, if you believed the other students. Neville Longbottom, who was sitting quietly by the fire, spoke up. "Look, Luna must have seen something," he said. "She wouldn't be making it up." The others shook their heads, unconvinced. "It's just a silly old wives' tale," Ron Weasley said dismissively. "Let's just forget about it." And so they did, or tried to. But that night, strange things began to happen. The first to go was a Hufflepuff girl named Susan Bones. She vanished from her dormitory one morning, and no trace of her could be found. The school was thrown into turmoil. Students and professors searched everywhere, but there was no sign of the missing girl. Fear began to spread like wildfire through the corridors of Hogwarts. Whispers of foul play and dark magic filled the halls. And then another student disappeared. A Ravenclaw boy named Roger Malone. He was last seen in the library, and then he was gone, leaving behind nothing but an empty chair and a pile of books. The atmosphere at Hogwarts became thick with dread. Students huddled together in the common rooms, too afraid to go anywhere alone. The once bustling halls were now deserted and silent. Even the portraits on the walls seemed to be shrouded in gloom. Fear hung heavy in the air. And then Luna came to Harry Potter, her usual whimsical self, a slight frown creasing her forehead. "I told you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I told you they would come for us. We should have listened to me. Should have hidden." Harry felt a surge of protectiveness towards his quirky friend. He knew she wasn't making this up. There was a desperate urgency in her eyes that he couldn't ignore. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll find them, Luna," he promised, though his voice lacked conviction. He knew that neither he nor the school had taken Luna seriously when she first warned them. Now, it was too late. So they set out, Harry and Neville, to find Luna, who insisted on leading them. The trio made their way through the deserted halls, their footsteps echoing eerily in the silence. The darkness seemed to press in on them, heavy and oppressive. Finally, they reached the top of the astronomy tower, where a door was ajar. Luna pushed it open and stepped inside. Harry and Neville followed close behind. The room was circular, with a domed ceiling that was lost in shadow. A single ray of moonlight sliced through a gap in the clouds, illuminating a small group of footprints on the stone floor. The prints were glowing, a faint blue light emanating from them. Neville gasped. "By Merlin?" he whispered. "What are those?" Harry felt a chill run down his spine. He knelt beside the tracks and examined them. They looked ancient, as though they had been made hundreds of years ago, yet there was something undeniably eerie about them. As he brushed his fingers over the grooves of the tracks, he felt a jolt of energy course through him. Memories, not his own, flooded his mind. He saw a dark, narrow corridor, felt the cold touch of damp stone against his skin, heard the drip, drip, drip of water seeping through cracks in the walls. And then he saw it, a mirror, tarnished and old, set into the far wall. It was covered in cobwebs and dust, and a strange mist emanated from its surface. Harry rose to his feet and turned to Luna. "Show us," he said, his voice hushed. Luna nodded and walked towards the mirror. As she approached, the mist began to clear, revealing the dark, narrow corridor that Harry had seen in his vision. It was like looking into a dream, a world just beyond the edge of perception. "This is the way," she whispered, her eyes shining with an otherworldly light. Without hesitation, Harry and Neville followed her. They stepped into the mirror and vanished. They reappeared in the corridor, which was narrow and dank, lit only by the faint glow of the mirror. The air was heavy, stale, and cold, as though the place had not seen sunlight in centuries. The walls were lined with countless mirrors, each reflecting the same dark corridor. It was like being trapped in a labyrinth of endless, dark reflections. Suddenly, a guttural voice boomed through the corridor. "Who goes there?" The voice echoed around them, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Harry instinctively drew his wand. "Lumos," he whispered, and the tip of his wand blazed with light. They stood their ground, their wands raised, as the shadowy figure emerged from the gloom. It was tall and gaunt, its limbs impossibly long and thin. Its skin was stretched taut over its bones, giving it a desiccated, almost skeletal appearance. Its eyes burned with an eerie blue light. "Who are you?" Harry demanded, his voice echoing in the vast space. The creature tilted its head, regarding them with an unnerving stillness. "We are the ones who walk between the mirrors," it rasped, its voice like the grinding of stones. "And you have trespassed into our realm." Fear constricted Harry's throat. He knew he should have listened to Luna, but now they were trapped in this nightmarish place. The creature took a step closer, its eyes boring into theirs. "You should not have come here," it hissed. "You are not welcome in our realm." As the creature advanced, Harry felt a cold dread grip him. This was a place of shadows and mirrors, where logic and reason had no hold. It was a realm where fears and nightmares took shape, and he sensed that they were in grave danger. Before Harry could react, the creature lunged. It moved with a speed that belied its emaciated frame, closing the distance between them in an instant. Its long, bony fingers wrapped around Harry's arm, digging its nails into his flesh. Pain shot through Harry's arm, and he cried out. Neville screamed, "Begone, foul creature!" and fired a spell at the creature. It recoiled, screeching in anger, and vanished into the mirrors. Harry stumbled back, clutching his arm, which was bleeding freely. Luna, her face pale, stepped forward. "You have to hide," she whispered urgently. "They only take those who laugh at fear." And with that cryptic warning, she dashed away, disappearing into the maze of mirrors. Harry and Neville looked at each other, understanding dawning on their faces. They realized that Luna had been right all along. The whispers in the night, the missing students, the strange footprints. It had all been a warning, and they had ignored it. Now they were trapped in a terrifying realm, pursued by creatures that fed on fear. With a sense of foreboding, Harry and Neville fled deeper into the mirrors, desperately seeking a way out, praying that Luna was right, and that they could escape with their lives.